Alright. Hello again, Avengers, and welcome. Another exciting daily vlog. This is daily vlog number 239, and today we're going to talk about some Power Rangers. So, yesterday's video was yesterday's video. However, in the first 2 minutes, I talked about two things that were really cool. The fact that the new Skybound Transformers series is really, really popular, which is great. And then I also mentioned you can get basically the entire Boom Studios run of Power Rangers for 25 bucks. Anyone that doesn't know, I'm a huge Power Rangers fan. I have a Power Rangers shelf. Oops, there. I have a Power Rangers shelf in my room. I love Power Rangers. And while I have, other than Shattered Grid, I have the Shattered Grid Deluxe Edition. I got it for Christmas a few years ago. Other than owning Shattered Grid, I really haven't had a chance to actually read the Boom Studios comics series. Now, I read synopses and other things like that so I can keep up to date with the lore and everything, because that's important to me. But I just haven't had a chance to actually read the books because, I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but collecting comics is expensive. So, as soon as I saw this, I jumped on it. However, there's a few things here that make this a little bit more difficult to enjoy. So that's what the video is today. I'm going to explain, because basically when you get it, you have a bunch of different collections, deluxe editions of various storylines, which are great, but they don't actually tell you what order they're in. And when you download them, depending on how your computer organizes the things, they're going to come in completely out of order, and none of it is going to make any sense whatsoever. There's also a few extra things that I didn't realize were in there. So that's what today's video is. I'm just going to go through explaining the files from the Humble Bundle and what the reading order would be to be able to go through the entirety of the Boom comic series, because this is the whole series from the absolute first Mighty Morphin Power Rangers episode 0 or whatever it's called, all the way through the final thing that ended this run. It's called Darkest Hour #1. And that was the end of the Boom Studios Power Ranger series. Now, as I've mentioned before, they are launching a new rebooted Power Rangers comic series. So Power Rangers comics are not going away. They are just doing a rebooted series that has effectively been compared to the Ultimate line for Marvel. If you guys remember a long time ago now, at one point Marvel decided that they wanted to kind of reboot the Marvel franchises, and so they created the Ultimate imprint. You'd have Ultimate X-Men and Ultimate Avengers and Ultimate Iron Man, and basically they were an alternate reality where instead of having to keep up with 50 some odd years of comic book stuff, they could start brand new, fresh in the modern era. And quite a few of the Ultimate stuff was actually really interesting. The Ultimate version of Nick Fury was based on Samuel L. Jackson, and that is now how everybody thinks of Nick Fury. A lot of people may not even remember. Nick Fury used to be this weird white dude with lots of muscles and a gun. And the Ultimate version of Nick Fury eventually crossed over into the main Marvel universe and is now, I believe, is their primary Nick Fury. There was an event that actually crossed over a lot of things. Miles Morales was the Ultimate version of Spider-Man, things like that. They eventually crossed them over, and now the Marvel timeline is even more complicated than it has ever been. But that's effectively what Power Rangers Prime is going to be, is the Ultimates version of Power Rangers, where they set it in modern day and it's completely new stories, but basically using the same characters. And thus far, the only thing, there's not a ton that's been revealed about it, but one of the big things that they've revealed is one of the first characters they're going to be focusing on is a character named Lauren Shiba. Lauren Shiba is a character from, I believe, the second season of Power Rangers Samurai Super Samurai. And basically, the Red Ranger, Jaden, I believe it is. The reason that all of those, the Samurai Rangers are Rangers is because they are descendant of their clan of samurai. And so they're the head of each one of their family households. And that's why they become the Power Rangers. It's part of their family duty. Well, season 2, we find out that Jaden actually isn't the eldest born Shiba. That's actually his sister, Laura, who's been missing. She shows up. She takes over the mantle of Red Ranger. This is where we actually get the first female Red Ranger in the television show. Canon was Lauren Shiba. And that entire subplot is complicated, to say the least. But that seems to be one of the first things that they're going to be focusing on, is the character of Lauren Shiba, which is an interesting character that really isn't explored that well in the TV series, which is kind of true about everything about the TV series. Don't get me wrong. Love the TV series. And there's quite a few of them that are exceptional. Time Force is really, really good. Mystic Force I really, really like. RPM is considered by a lot of people to be one of the greatest, if not the greatest, Power Rangers series. SPD is looked on rather fondly, so it's not like there's bad, all the TV series are bad, but because they're aimed at a younger audience and they do have a limited runtime, a lot of times they don't get to explore everything as in-depth as you'd like, and that's where the comics come in. They get to explore the relationships between the characters. They get to explore aspects that we don't get to in the TV shows, and they're remarkably well written. I've made it through my first Power Rangers Year 1 collection, and I'm actually almost done with Power Rangers Year 2. I have one more book in that, and then I'm done with that. It is so exceptionally good, guys. I cannot tell you. So anyway, I am going to be putting a timestamp somewhere around this time. So if people come to this video just trying to figure out what the order is that they're supposed to be reading this in, they can just come right to the timestamp and go for it. So, that being said, let's talk about the stuff that you get in the Humble Bundle. So, if you go to the Humble Bundle page where it says Power Rangers Mega Bundle, Boom Studios Comic Bundle, the order that they have here is actually not 100% off the actual reading order. And this is where I got my first idea for what order to put these in. I've since gone to the Ranger Wiki and that and kind of fixed some stuff to make sure that I know where every thing is supposed to go. But overall, the one thing that you want to be aware of, the first thing that they list here, Darkest Hour #1, that is the absolute last book in this run of Power Rangers from Boom Studios. So that is the absolute last thing that you want to read, because it ends this series. The next two things, the Power Rangers Archive Book 1 and Book 2 Deluxe Edition, those aren't actually the Boom Studios Power Rangers run. These are the older comics that were there was a Marvel comic run. There was quite a few other ones. So this is basically there's a Hamilton comic run. So those two books have nothing to do with the Boom Studios timeline or anything like that. So if you want to read those, you can just read them. A lot of the things, you'll have all the kind of comic runs next to each other in Book 1 and Book 2. Oops, I hit the wrong button. And so those just, read at your leisure. You're not really going to get too confused with that. The next thing that they show is Go-Go Power Rangers Book 1 Deluxe Edition and Go-Go Power Rangers Book 2 Deluxe Edition. And this is where things start getting confusing. Because not only is Go-Go Power Rangers and Mighty Morphin Power Rangers different comic series, but they actually ran at the same time. They're just... and they're about the same group of people at different points in their timeline. So, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers was the first comic book line to get started, and it starts directly after Tommy the Green Ranger joins the Power Rangers and deals with a lot of the first few episodes are just Tommy kind of dealing with the fact that he was evil and did bad things. Which again was something that they slightly touched on in the TV show. Like every so often you'd have like a one-off line of Tommy going, yeah, I still remember what I did when I was controlled by Rita. But they really didn't get into it. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers does that, and then it starts off everything else that we're going to talk about here. Go-Go Power Rangers started a little bit after Mighty Morphin Power Rangers as far as when the comic books were published, but Go-Go Power Rangers was actually focused on the Power Rangers team before Tommy joined. So, the other thing that's a little bit weird about Go-Go Power Rangers Book 1 Deluxe Edition, Go-Go Power Rangers Book 2 Deluxe Edition, is there were certain comic series, or there were certain storylines where stuff happened in Go-Go Power Rangers that directly affected stuff happening in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and vice versa, which started with the Shattered Grid storyline. Basically, Shattered Grid, Lord Drakkon, started kind of going through alternate realities and time, trying to steal more power for himself. And so the Grid, in order to protect itself, actually shattered the timeline and basically made each different set of Power Rangers in their own kind of alternate dimension that were all working kind of at the same time. And so at that point, Go-Go Power Rangers and Mighty Morphin Power Rangers would have books that would both be involved with the Shattered Grid storyline, or the Beyond the Grid storyline, or the Necessary Evil storyline. What that means for reading is Go-Go Power Rangers books 1 and 2 Deluxe Edition has comics in them that are repeated in the other collections, like the Shattered Grid Deluxe Edition or the Necessary Evil Deluxe Edition 1 and 2. So what I recommend, if you want to be able to understand what's going on without kind of spoiling yourself by reading the wrong thing at the wrong time, Go-Go Power Rangers I kind of treat as a prequel. You can read Go-Go Power Rangers after you read through everything else and really not lose a whole lot, because a lot of what happens in Go-Go Power Rangers is meant to happen after after you read the stuff that's going on in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. And again, the important stuff for Go-Go Power Rangers, in order for you to understand the ongoing storyline, is going to be in the collected deluxe editions. So as far as what you should read first, I would probably say wait on reading Go-Go Power Rangers Book 1 and Book 2 until you've made it through the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and then all the different collections and the things like that, because it'll make a little bit more sense. Go-Go Power Rangers kind of jumps around in time a little bit. The next book that's listed for on Humble Bundle is Power Rangers Lost Chronicles. This is a collection of effectively side stories. And the interesting thing about this is all the books that are in the Power Rangers Lost collection show up later on as individual books. Like The Psychopath, Soul of the Dragon, Aftershock, and Sins of the Future are the books that are in there. And they're all basically kind of side story, one-shot kind of things. The Power Rangers Lost Chronicles Deluxe Edition is basically the PDF version of them. The individual versions of those books all show up in this series as EPUBs, which is a file format specifically designed for e-readers like Kindles or things like that. So again, if you want to know everything that's going on, the Lost Chronicles are good stories, but they're not necessary to understand everything that's going on. They're just good stories to read. So, just to sum up what we've talked about thus far as the stuff in the Humble Bundle is concerned, Darkest Hour #1, don't read it. It is the last book. Do not read that until you've read everything else. The Power Rangers Archive books 1 and 2 are completely unrelated story-wise. They're the old Marvel and Hamilton imprints and things like that. This is stuff that all happened, I think, in the 90s and early 2000s. The Boom Studio run didn't start till 2015. So those are completely safe. Read them whenever you want. It's not going to spoil anything. Go-Go Power Rangers books 1 and 2 Deluxe Edition are effectively prequels and side stories to Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. So while you can read those first, they're going to be a little bit confusing because they jump around a little bit, and they also interact with the major crossover events, namely Shattered Grid and Necessary Evil. So I would recommend reading those after you read the main comic run. And then the final thing, Power Rangers Lost Chronicles Deluxe Edition, is effectively a bunch of really, really great side stories that don't really affect the main continuity, but they do explain other things that are really interesting. My personal favorite, Soul of the Dragon, is basically the swan song for the character of Tommy Oliver. He does his last morph. You get to see the family that he started and everything. It's basically Old Man Logan, but Power Rangers style. So, yeah. So now, let's get to the nitty-gritty of everything. So, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. This is another thing that's a little bit confusing about the Boom Studio Comics run, because, again, they technically had 2 different series running simultaneously that used the same characters, just at different points in their life, and then they would kind of change the naming based on what was going on. So to start with everything, to actually start at the beginning of the comic run, not the beginning of the Power Rangers themselves, because that's Go-Go Power Rangers, but the beginning of the comic run, you start off with Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Year 1 Deluxe. It's the one that has the really cool cover art of the Green Ranger where he's holding his helmet here and it says, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, Book 1 in green. That's going to start you at the beginning. It's going to start you, again, right after Tommy joins the Power Rangers. And the storyline that is set up in that one, and then Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Year 2 Deluxe, which has the Red Ranger with Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Year 2 Deluxe Edition on it. Those two are basically going to be setting up the Draken storyline and getting ready for the Shattered Grid event. So the first 2 books you read, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Year 1 Deluxe and Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Year 2 Deluxe. I want to make clear the specific ones that you want to read first are Year 1 and Year 2. Later on, there is Mighty Morphin / Power Rangers Book 1 and Mighty Morphin / Power Rangers Book 2. Those are completely different. And they have different cover art. Like I said, the ones you specifically want are Year 1 and Year 2. I'll explain the other one in a second here. So, those set up the backstory of Lord Draken. They introduce you to the world of Power Rangers. And they also do a really good job of showing the kind of mental state of all of the Power Rangers, the different relationships that they all have. You actually get to meet a few of the Power Rangers' parents, which really doesn't happen in the show. They reference them a lot, and I think they show up for like 3 or 4 seconds in a few different episodes. But this one, you actually get to see the relationship that the Rangers have with their parents a little bit. And it also starts introducing some comic book unique characters. Like Grace Holloway, I think her name is. Which I won't go into details about who that is, but it's an important KKKK character and the Promethea Corporation. So those are the ones you start with. The next book that you want to read, and this is the one that really kind of woke up the comic book world to the fact that the Power Rangers comics were not just a money grab. Because the next book you're going to read is Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Shattered Grid Deluxe Edition. Again, I physically have this book. I don't know where I have it. I think I have it over there right now. But I have the actual collection of it. It's a gorgeous book. But Shattered Grid is what I mentioned before. Basically, Lord Drakon decides that he's going to start going effectively through time and stealing Power Rangers' powers to give himself and his armies more power. And so when he starts doing that, the morphing grid shatters reality so that each Power Rangers team is actually trapped in their own separate reality for a little bit. And the Shattered Grid storyline deals with that. It's this really massive, amazing crossover where instead of just getting the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, you get the RPM Rangers. Hyperforce shows up in there. Samurai Rangers. Literally every Ranger shows up, or almost every Ranger team shows up in some way, shape, or form in the Shattered Grid storyline. And it's absolutely phenomenally amazing. Now, this is where we first start seeing reprints in this collection because Go-Go Power Rangers, again, it's just a prequel series. It's meant to just be explaining what happened before Tommy joined up with the Power Rangers. However, when the Morphing Grid kind of broke reality and put each different team into their own timeline, they broke Go-Go Power Rangers and put them in their own time so that Drakon was actually able to go back to the Go-Go Power Rangers timeline and do stuff there while also interacting with the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers to the timeline. And that's where things get a little bit hinky. So, Shattered Grid does include books from Go-Go Power Rangers. But the nice thing about the Shattered Grid Deluxe Edition is it keeps them all in order. Basically, what happens... Where are you? Not that one. Not that one. I think this is it. Yeah. So, the way that it works is in Shattered Grid starts in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. So you get issue 24, 25, and 26 of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers in the Shattered Grid Deluxe Edition. You also get the 2018 annual and the Free Comic Book Day special. And then the very next thing is Go-Go Power Rangers issue 9. And then after that is Mighty Morphin Power Rangers issue 27. Then Go-Go 10, Mighty Morphin 28, Go-Go 11. And it goes on like that, basically alternating, which is how they were released. Like, they wouldn't come out on the same day. You'd have alternating. I think they came out every 2 weeks, every month when they did. So you would have, like, alternating weeks or alternating every other week that you'd have either a Mighty Morphin coming out or a Go-Go coming out. So as far as reading comprehension is concerned, it's a lot easier to just pick up the deluxe edition and just read from beginning to end because it will automatically... alternate between the issues so that you have a congruent story. So that takes care of that. The next book that you want to read is Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Beyond the Grid Deluxe Edition. And basically what that does is it deals with the aftermath of all the stuff that happened because of Shattered Grid. And it is exclusively Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. So Go-Go Power Rangers goes off and does their own things. And that's in their collected books. And then Mighty Morphin Power Rangers actually got collected in the Beyond the Grid. So issues 31 through 39 of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, and the anniversary special issue 1 is all in there. And again, it continues the storyline. You learn a little bit more about some of the characters that were introduced in the Shattered Grid storyline, and it creates some pretty interesting stuff. Then the next things that you want to read is where things start getting a little bit more confusing, because of course they do. The next thing you want to read is Necessary Evil Part 1, followed by Necessary Evil Part 2. And because, again, the Necessary Evil storyline crosses over with both Go-Go Power Rangers and Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, both Necessary Evil Part 1 and Part 2 will alternate, where Mighty Morphin Power Rangers issue 40 is the first thing that you read in Necessary Evil Part 1, and then it goes Go-Go 21, Mighty Morphin 41, Go-Go 22, Mighty Morphin 42, again. And then, and the other thing, each one of these deluxe editions also will have kind of exclusive kind of side stories. Like Year 1 had, at the end of it, The Continuing Adventures of Bulk and Skull, which is just a comic series about stuff that Bulk and Skull do. It's just three short books, or 3 short issues where it's just Bulk and Skull dealing with Mr. Kaplan and their various hijinks. It's very fun. It's very interesting. So yeah, and then we get into Necessary Evil Part 2. That goes Go-Go issue 29, Mighty Morphin 48, Go-Go issue 30, Mighty Morphin 49, and it keeps doing that until we get to Go-Go issues 31 and 32, which ends Go-Go Power Rangers connection to the Necessary Evil storyline. And then it's just Mighty Morphin Power Rangers 51 through 55. And it ends with Power Rangers Ranger Slayer, which was a one-shot comic specifically focusing on a character named Ranger Slayer, who shows up in the Shattered Grid storyline. So, after that is where things get a little bit confusing. Because this is where things really start to change. Because after the Necessary Evil storyline, they actually discontinued Go-Go Power Rangers. That was the end of Go-Go Power Rangers. And they technically discontinued Mighty Morphin Power Rangers as well. And so now they have 2 different book series. You have the Mighty Morphin series. That's no longer Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. It's just called Mighty Morphin. And that focuses on the Power Rangers team on Earth with Kimberly and Aisha, Rocky, and Adam. They join. Jason, Zach, and Trini go off on the peace conference thing. We'll talk about that in a second. So after the Necessary Evil storyline, you now get to start reading Mighty Morphin / Power Rangers Book 1 Deluxe Edition, and then Mighty Morphin / Power Rangers Book 2 Deluxe Edition. And the reason that's important is because it's actually 2 different book series. You have the Mighty Morphin series, which again, focusing on the Earth-based Power Rangers. And then you also have the Power Rangers series. And what the Power Rangers series is, slight spoiler for if you've never read these, when Jason, Zach, and Trini go off on their peace conference, that's not actually what happens. They actually go to space and become a group called the Omega Rangers. And so the Power Rangers imprint and the Power Rangers series is basically all of the stories involving either the Omega Rangers or basically the non-Earth based Rangers. So, Mighty Morphin / Power Rangers Book 1 Deluxe Edition. And again, the difference between the first one you were on a read is Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Year 1 is where the thing starts. The one that says Book 1, that still has a Green Ranger on there, but the difference being is this Green Ranger has the gold on the Green Ranger helmet that he didn't originally have in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. And then Mighty Morphin / Power Rangers Book 2 Deluxe Edition has one of the Omega Rangers on it. So the helmet, if you've no idea who the Omega Rangers are, the helmet will look very, very cool, but will look like nonsense because you've never seen that particular Ranger suit before, because the Omega Rangers are a completely unique comic book invention. They're not taken from Super Sentai or anything. They're wholly unique to the comic books. So after Necessary Evil Part 2, you read Mighty Morphin / Power Rangers Book 1 Deluxe Edition and Mighty Morphin / Power Rangers Book 2 Deluxe Edition. And that will get you the beginnings of the Mighty Morphins storyline and the beginnings of the Power Rangers storyline. And just like before, what they do is they alternate between Mighty Morphin and Power Rangers. So Mighty Morphin Issue 1, Power Rangers Issue 1. Mighty Morphin Issue 2, Power Rangers Issue 2. So you kind of get both stories at the same time. And then the same thing happens there. Same thing happens in... Excuse me. Same thing happens in Book 2, only Book 2 starts with this thing called Power Rangers Unlimited. Anytime you see the words Power Rangers Unlimited, that is a one-shot book that's meant to be something really impressive. So Power Rangers Unlimited Countdown to Ruin is what starts off Book 2 of Mighty Morphin / Power Rangers. And that goes, again, issues 9 through 16 of both Mighty Morphin and of Power Rangers. And then after that, instead of giving us collected editions, what they have is Mighty Morphin number 17 through 22 and Power Rangers number 17 through 22 in individual books. And so if you want to continue how things have been going thus far, you can read like Mighty Morphin 17, then Power Rangers 17, Mighty Morphin 18, then Power Rangers 18, just to keep things congruent. Or you can just read 17 through 22 Mighty Morphin, 17 through 22 Power Rangers. They'll both kind of work, but if you're kind of used between flipping between the two, it's probably not a bad idea to just read them one or alternate them, because that makes the most sense. And all of 17 through 22 in both series is leading up to the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers number 100 issue, which is its own comic book in the collection. It was this huge crossover of an event. And if you're looking at the Humble Bundle page, you'll see that there's something in between Power Rangers 17 through 22 and Mighty Morphin Power Rangers number 100. It's also where they stop doing Mighty Morphin and Power Rangers as two separate series. 100 is where both series come back together. But before that, there's a thing called Power Rangers Unlimited, the Death Ranger. So, again, Power Rangers Unlimited is for one-shots. And so Power Rangers Unlimited, the Death Ranger, is a backstory for a character that is going to be a major player in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers number 100. So reading that first is a good idea because it'll give you all the background on that character. I don't think it's 100% necessary to be able to understand what's going on in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers 100, but it's not a bad idea to read it that way. So Mighty Morphin 17 through 22, Power Rangers 17 through 22, Power Rangers Unlimited, the Death Ranger #1, and then Mighty Morphin Power Rangers number 100. And that takes you all the way through the 100th the 100th issue of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Wow, I could not remember the word issue. Then after that, because again, there's no longer two separate comic book runs that are going on. Everything is just Mighty Morphin Power Rangers going forward. And so as far as reading order from the Humble Bundle, the next thing you want to read is the Recharged series. So Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Recharged Volume 1, Volume 2, and Volume 3, and Volume 4. Now, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Volume 1, 2, and 3 deal with a couple different storylines in the Power Rangers series, but it's all just concurrent. And then Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Recharged Volume 4 starts the Darkest Hour storyline, which again is the final storyline in the entire Boom Studios comic run. So this is when things start getting really, really good. You start seeing a couple new characters. Now again, the thing about all of this is we're still dealing with the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. They haven't turned into Zeo. They haven't shifted into Turbo. Nothing else. This is all just Mighty Morphin Power Rangers stuff. But the storylines that they're dealing with here have really nothing to do with what happened in the TV show. Ever since Shattered Grid, they took this complete left turn, and all the stories here are relatively unique and really, really good. So after Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Recharged Volume 4, you have a couple, you have a few single issue ones in there, which is Mighty Morphin Power Rangers numbers 115 to 122. And then after Mighty Morphin Power Rangers 122, that's when you go back and read Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Darkest Hour #1. And that is the entire Boom Studios timeline of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and just Power Rangers in general. But you may notice there's a bunch more books here. What do we do with these extra books? Well, a lot of them, again, are side stories. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Pink is a solo Kimberly side story that I'm actually not 100% familiar with. But it's specifically focused on Kimberly, the Pink Ranger, and her having to do Power Rangers things on her own. Again, the next things you see here, Soul of the Dragon is Old Man Logan, but Tommy Oliver. The Psychopath talks about the origins of the Psycho Rangers and all that. And it's an amazing storyline. Power Rangers Aftershock is meant to be a sequel, I believe, to the 2017 movie that did not do very well. Drakon New Dawn is a storyline that kind of relates to the stuff going on in Darkest Hour. And at the very bottom, you'll also see Power Rangers Unlimited, Call to Darkness. Those books, which I believe is, yeah, this is actually Power Rangers Unlimited. Call to Darkness is actually the two introductions to the what's it called again? The Darkest Hour storyline. So technically, Power Rangers Unlimited Call to Darkness, you should read that before you start the Darkest Hour storyline, which again starts in Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Volume 4. So, as far as reading order is concerned, do Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Recharged Volumes 1 through 3. Then, I'm revising something, read Power Rangers Unlimited Call to Darkness. And then read Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Recharged Volume 4. And then 115 through 122. Forgot about that. And then Power Rangers Drakon New Dawn is kind of a side story, so it doesn't 100% relate to the stuff that's going on. Ranger Academy was its own thing that's aimed at a little bit more young adult crowd. Sins of the Future is a Time Force is a story that's really good, but again, a side story. And then Power Rangers Universe is a 6-issue limited series talking about the origins of a character called the Morphonauts and where they come from. And it's a really, really cool series. It really doesn't affect anything else in the main storyline other than kind of explaining a pretty well-known character where they came from. But other than that, like you can read Power Rangers Universe just whenever, because it's set timeline-wise. It's set thousands of years before any Power Ranger stuff happens. So it's a prequel. So yeah, I hope this has been easy enough to understand. I'm going to one more time just go through my recommended reading order for the main Mighty Morphin storyline without talking about all the side stories and stuff like that. So if you're coming into this, you're just figuring out, I got the Humble Bundle, where do I want to start? Start with Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Year 1, specifically Year 1 Deluxe Edition, followed by Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Year 2 Deluxe Edition, then Shattered Grid, Beyond the Grid, Necessary Evil 1, Necessary Evil 2, Mighty Morphin / Power Rangers Book 1 Deluxe Edition, Mighty Morphin / Power Rangers Book 2 Deluxe Edition, then Mighty Morphin numbers 17 through 22, Power Rangers numbers 17 through 22, Power Rangers Unlimited, The Death Ranger number 1, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers number 100. Then we go to Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Recharged, volumes 1, 2, and 3. Then Power Rangers Unlimited Call to Darkness. Then Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Recharged, volume 4. Then Mighty Morphin Power Rangers numbers 115 through 122. And finally, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Darkest Hour. That will give you the main plot line of the Boom Studio Comics. After you're done with that, you can go back and read Go-Go Power Rangers. You can read the Power Rangers Archive for things that are completely unrelated. The Lost Chronicles has some amazing stuff in it. And then obviously Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Pink and Power Rangers Drakon New Dawn and Power Rangers Universe are really good stories too. But I hope this helps. Like I said, it took me hours to figure out where all this stuff fit, and it took me going to a bunch of different websites to figure out what I was looking at and what followed which, and the naming conventions were weird and everything. So I hope this makes it a little bit easier on everyone. Otherwise, that is going to be all for me today. I'm going to again put the link to the Humble Bundle in the description in case you didn't pick it up. Like I said, it's 25 books for almost 10 years of Power Rangers comics. Even more so since it's giving you all the Marvel imprints and Hamilton Comics imprints and all that stuff from the 90s. So it's an unbelievably amazing deal. I've put all of them onto my tablet, and so at bed, before I went to bed last night, I just went reading through as many as I could, because it's nice, and I like reading on tablets because they have backlights, so I don't need a light overhead to be able to read them. Anyway, it's gonna be all for me today. I will see you guys next time. All right, bye bye.